from America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation. Now, GJRB presents The Last 7 Days. In this time of lawlessness and utter chaos, there's a program that puts it all into perspective. This is the program where men and women gather to discuss current events and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. And now, The Last 7 Days.
Start at 10 o'clock, so...
Yeah, you got a meeting.
we got a meeting at 10 o'clock, so... every year, I make predictions. And, to be quite honest with you, I don't spend a lot of time on it. It's more kind of a fun thing than anything. I don't claim to be a prophet. I could have easily went 50 things if I talked about politics. But I tried to break it up with just other things. So, number one, mushrooms will be the next health food. Both the psychedelic ones and the regular ones. And it'll be the next hemp, where you see like Hepvana and all this different products. Well, mushrooms will be the next one this year. It'll be from both psychedelic and regular mushrooms. It'll be the new health food.
Yeah, man, I'm seeing things. We haven't had too many mushrooms, man.
Well, that's before you made it.
I made this on January 1st. Like I said, I just slapped this out. I could have included like at least 10 more political things, and it would have been right, I'm sure, on all of them. Ooh, more French toast.
Joe and Sharon, you mentioned, ask them if they want anything down there?
Yes.
Yeah, Joe and Sharon might want some.
The Democrats are calling it the miracle of Georgia, but the truth of it is, you can't keep doing the same things and expect different results. That's the definition of it.
Yeah.
I knew that these two Democratic senators, to show you the magnitude of it, first black senator from the South ever elected as a senator, ever in the history of the United States. Do I think that these two actually won? No, I don't believe they actually won. But I knew they would. Number 3, Trump TV is going to be a thing. And I got 3 points for that. On the sides are points also.
What do you mean by Trump TV?
He's going to start his own television.
Just like
Trump's going to start his own television. I heard about something like that. And so they've been talking about a possibility. No, it's going to have his own TV station.
Right. Oh, station.
And then Laura Ingraham will be in second in command. So I took 3 points for each one of those. Bitcoin will hit 50,000 and then drop back largely. I would suggest, I didn't put it down there, but I would suggest it'll hit 50,000 and will go down probably to 30,000 a coin.
Just make it big on the stock.
And Ron, what happens to the vice president? Is he done working for the government, or does he go back?
He's done.
No, he's done. What's
So,
he didn't back up Trump.
well, after that demonstration, he couldn't really. That's what was all part of the setup. Trump got out. You got to give devil the due. He got outplayed. Trump got outplayed every single way. It was stacked against him anyhow, but he got outplayed. Bitcoin will hit 50,000. Now, the significant thing about this is a shout out to Venezuela. First country, socialist, of course. First country to go cashless in the history of modern history. First country to go cashless, and they're doing it by cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin hits 50,000. This is all part of a drive towards cashless society. Number 5, China outsells Western vaccines in the world. There's 187 vaccines and blood treatments in the world. China has its own, miraculously, hard to believe, China had their own vaccine 1 month after the first outbreak. How could that possibly happen? You talk about rapid development of vaccines. China got theirs in the first month.
Probably because they had the refrigerator ready to go.
Possibly because they designed the coronavirus.
Well, did you hear about that guy, though, that got into big trouble because he left the vaccines out of the freezer?
Pharmacist in Wisconsin. Yep. There'll be more. Number 6, banks save from commercial real estate crisis. There'll be a bailout of banks again. This in 2021. The reason being is, well, for starters, how many restaurants in the country has closed down in this country already? 110,000 restaurants have closed down permanently. Okay, number 7, hottest year on record. The record would be 2016. Number 8, Joe Biden president by January 20th. I shouldn't really circle that, but I'm going to circle it because it's pretty much a for sure thing.
Yeah. Or check mark it, that's what I do.
I wished I would have gave 6 points for the ones about 2 Democrats in Georgia, but I just took 3.
Don't teach yourself.
Some of this is just too easy. Yeah. Number 9, oil prices stay around $50 a barrel. Now that's an average. That's an average. You can expect that they're going to cut down oil production because of the coronavirus, but also you got to remember that Joe Biden doesn't like oil. So he's planning on in the process of getting rid of oil. So
looks like you forgot his oil can already.
now, so with everything said and done, I think oil prices will remain the same, about $50 a barrel. We're about where it's at right now.
Well, gas prices are going to go up very high.
Gas prices will stay the same.
There's a lot more vegetables guys.
Number 10, and I took 3 points for each one of these because these are unrelated politically, but they're not totally unrelated. Boris Johnson is out as Prime Minister this year, and Prince Philip dies. There's reasons behind some of these things. Number 11, there's going to be a bombing of Iran in 2021. 12, alcoholic probiotics gains popularity. This will be alcohol infused with probiotics for the stomach and for the immune system. Number 13, a 7-point earthquake off the west coast of U.S. Number 14, I just picked a date, July 1st. July 1st. I just picked a date of when I thought the percentage of vaccination will be. So I picked July 1st, 2021, about the middle of the year, 35 to 45% vaccination. Currently, it's far off track. Matter of fact, currently, this would look like that's what they'd want to shoot for right now, because the vaccination rate has been far off. Well, and bear in mind also, just because you're taking the first shot and you get counted, there's a second shot. So you can't count the second shot unless, of course, I don't know, maybe they can. So you got to remember, everybody that's taking the first shot technically shouldn't be counted on the second shot. So I think 35 to 45% is about where the projection is going to be. And by the way, Fauci said that Fauci said that in order to have herd immunity, it would be like 60 to 60 to 75%. And then it got raised up from 75 to 80, 90% now. So herd immunity seems to be getting higher and higher all along to achieve herd immunity, which means that there's going to be a more likely shot at forced vaccinations. Number 15, Joe Biden will display public dementia. 3 points. Talks of retiring, stays in as president in 2020.
21.
3 points for each one of those. 16 year of protest, revolution, record year for protests. 17, this goes in association with it. Record deaths in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and Detroit, major cities. Record deaths. Now, let me just say that, of course, with the liberals being in, you should say that there won't be a lot of protesting because their party is in power, but it's never enough. So, and then also the record deaths in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. I might be off by a few numbers, but I think the Chicago deaths last year were 445, and this year it was 769, I think. So almost double. 18, this is bold. If this doesn't happen this year, expect it to happen next year. Taiwan falls to China. Could be next year, but I'm putting it in this year. War starts in Syria again, whoever's president. It won't matter who's president. There's going to be a new war starting in Syria again. 50, space aliens and UFOs will be spoken of more by world governments. This has been a trend since 2017, and this is all part of the signs and wonders in the sky and spiritual.
Where was that? I just saw on Facebook here. I think about strange lights somewhere.
Well, but more world governments
from the ground.
More world governments are going to be talking about this. This has been a trend since 2017, and I don't think it's going to change. This is part of the spiritual deception by Satan and later on down by the Antichrist. 21, southern borders open up. 22, process begins to allow D.C. to be state. 23, process begins Puerto Rico to be a state. I'm not saying that they're going to be a state, but the process will begin.
And they just elected a guy who's pushing for it.
These are only predictions. This isn't prophecy. I said at the beginning, I like doing this every year. I don't spend hardly any time working on this. This is just what comes to the top of my mind. This is not thus saith the Lord. This is not thus saith the Lord.
I try to predict stuff. I could never do it.
If I would have heavily stuck Joe Biden victory in this setup, I have 30. Normally I don't have that many. I could have easily did 50 because I got another list of things that I think is going to happen. But I wrote these things down by January 1st. I could have put other things down. I was thinking about going to 50. And
I could have gone over 100.
I probably could even went higher than that. But this is kind of just fun for me because it kind of like tells me whether or not I'm on the right track. 34. 3 or more Democratic candidates for Supreme Court. Joe Biden receives Nobel Prize 2021. That's very hateful. No, I can't say that it's going to be a peace prize, but it could be a prize for medicine.
Because of that vaccine, wasn't it?
Because of the vaccine.
He gets credit for it when it was under Trump's.
Well, you got to remember, Trump gets the blame for the coronavirus. Joe Biden gets the credit for the vaccine.
Yeah.
Okay. 26. Nancy Pelosi remains Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Definitely.
There's
Barely got in by 2, though.
Yep.
Stoners.
3 points. That was a plus 3 points. Now let me point something out about Nancy Pelosi. Notice that her challenger was not a Democrat. Her challenger was not a Democrat. The reason being is Nancy Pelosi, even though she's a fruitcake and she's evil, she is well placed in power. She is like the one world government stepdaughter right there.
Yeah, stepdaughter on steroids.
Hey, they might change.
Harris is the daughter.
They may change that name. There's no longer mothers, daughters, or you heard about that, did you?
Yeah, she brought it up, and then when she was speaking, she said mother or daughter, something like that.
Mitch McConnell will not be the majority leader of the Senate. I'm going to put another plus 3 there.
You know, and I can't say that I'm sad about
No.
that. No.
Number 28. What Russia will threaten U.S. from north the Arctic.
That's interesting.
Number 29. Record number of police killed in U.S. in 2021. 30. Record number of churches vandalized in U.S. 2021.
You said that?
Yes. So,
What was that about the Antarctic?
Russia.
Russia will threaten from the Antarctic. And the reason being is,
our friends at the North Pole aren't far from Russia.
the reason being is that this is not a battle between Republicans and Democrats. That battle is gone a long time ago. This is a battle between the New World Order and China on how they're going to divide this nation. I want to say 2016, I got to find that map again. A Russian political scientist took a map of the United States and divided it out, and what he thought was going to be parceled out, the United States being parceled out. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen in 2021, but this is what we're working towards. The parceling out of the United States. It may be official, it may be unofficial. It may be unofficial first before it becomes official. But Russia is here. No, because even the part that the New World Order takes over won't want churches. They may be official churches, just like there are in China, just like there are in Russia, but there won't be any true churches. So, now, you've heard me say that I'm an optimistic, pessimistic person. I'm optimistic about the things of God and how Bible prophecy is being fulfilled. I am pessimistic about man's chances here in the United States and in the world. So I have a few things that I want to include that I didn't put on my list, but I wanted to put on the list. Let's talk about the political change first. There'll be a 100-day close down, including churches. Probably January 21st, it'll be announced. I don't suspect that it'll be in full implementation until the 1st of February, though I could be wrong. Right away, there's going to be a 100-day close down. It'll limit travel. Grocery stores, gas stations will be open. Drugstores will be open. Not much more else than that. Churches will be closed. Bars will be closed. Restaurants will be closed. And anybody that has a problem with that will probably face a $10,000 fine. First offense.
By the way, they're already...
We see the very same thing in UK. What you see in UK is what you can see in the United States.
I wonder who pockets that money.
Number two.
Pelosi.
Number two. There's going to be talk about strengthening the Obamacare plan. Strengthening the Obamacare plan.
Here we go.
Okay, so what are they going to strengthen? Anybody got any guesses?
Probably tax again.
Probably some kind of chip.
Remember those death panels?
Yep.
Death panels that were in Obamacare.
Anybody else want?
Well, guess what? Guess what? That's what they're going to strengthen. That's one of the things they're going to strengthen is back to death panels. We're already seeing it right now. They're already talking about hospitals rationing care. Here I am, Mary Holt as an example. Here I am, basically blacklisted because why? I'm sick. Okay.
You're older, too.
Yeah, I know, older.
Hey,
Well, you
how you
see,
doing, John?
when originally they had the death panels, you had to be 66 years old and 6 months. 666. Okay? But now, I wasn't 66 years old back then, but now I would qualify.
Congratulations.
Yes, I know. It's an accomplishment.
It's been nice knowing you.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to die any sooner than God intends me to die. Okay. Another thing I want to mention is masks are here to stay. They'll be here to stay until the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, they don't go to next year.
Or the rapture.
I don't
The rapture. Well, no, the second coming of Christ. They'll still be wearing masks at the second half. Vaccines will be mandatory down the line sometime, probably tied to the next stimulus bill. We're going to get that rest of that money from the $2,000. This is not on the list, by the way, Paul. You can expect some Democrats. You can expect some Republicans that switch parties and become Democrats. Basically, they're Democrats anyhow. And
Underneath, probably.
and
Or is it underneath me?
Iowa will be signaled out
Gary, okay.
by Joe Biden. Expect that Iowa will be signaled out by Joe Biden, which will put a huger pressure on our governor, and I would be surprised she doesn't get reelected.
Who don't get reelected? Our governor.
Our governor, yes. But Iowa will be singled out. Joe Biden and the Democrats have got Iowa on its sights.
Our governor is more liberal and he is conservative. It doesn't matter.
But I'm going to tell you, she's going to buckle and conform to churches. So far, she can't mention churches in shutdowns. So, she will.
And they're already saying, too, that if governors don't comply, they'll just shut them off of federal funding.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. And then one other thing, the new Attorney General, and I wrote this down, and then I actually heard who the Attorney General was. The new Attorney General will be against religious freedoms. It's all part of it.
Who is he?
I wanted to put this on the other list, but I just thought, okay, that's enough. The new judge, the new Attorney General will be Judge Garland. Okay. A blast from the past. He wanted to be a Supreme Court judge, but the Senate wouldn't listen to him. Wouldn't even take his nomination. Okay, who's Judge Garland? How many of you feel real comfortable about your rights of having guns and religious freedoms? Let me tell you a little story about Judge Garland. The perfect person that I thought would be Attorney General, by the way. First of all, he's Jewish. Okay? And he's from Chicago. So instantly you know that he's not a huge Christian fan, and number two, he's not a huge gun fan. Okay?
Well, there goes Caleb.
He's on the federal district court in Washington D.C. Washington D.C. The last vote, which is generally about the way it votes, voted 95% Biden and 5% Trump. Okay? So it kind of shows you, not that the voting machines, you can't really say for sure, but it's a very Democratic town. Let's just put that right. So here's Judge Garland, who is soon to be Attorney General. Remember, churches need to be shut down. So Judge Garland had 2 religious court cases that he ruled on. Well, I want to talk about particularly one. The other one's kind of frivolous. But I want to talk about this one. There was an employee from the Department of Interior wanted to get some Sundays off so they could go to church and study the Bible. And he ruled that they have no right to have Sundays off. So, I want you to think about that. They don't have any right to worship on Sunday. Perfect Attorney General for the upcoming administration. And then I threw this in. You're going to see more and more ghost kitchens. Ghost kitchens.
That's like kids with dynamite.
Hy-Vee doesn't realize this, but they're probably kind of sitting on a gold mine. And so is Walmart. Walmart has all those empty spaces, and Hy-Vee's got the... The idea of it is
Walmart has Subway.
you need to go, mom and pop restaurants, in order to survive, mom and pop restaurants have to go where places will remain open. Gas stations, grocery stores, Walmarts, those types of places. So I believe you'll see, if people are smart, they'll start striking deals with Walmart. I know Hy-Vee's got their own kitchen too, but still, this will be a way that they can raise, people like Hy-Vee, Walmart can raise revenue by allowing kitchens to come in. Say like Nora's, for instance. Nora's can come in there. And little pop, Mama and Bob, what is it, Mama and Papa or whatever, those type of places, mom and pop restaurants could go into places that will remain open. And then they'll still have traffic. There won't be any seating, but you can come in and get a meal. So I think that could be a thing to help save restaurants. What?
Walmart. You try to put a place like that in Walmart, they make a pretty good percentage.
Well, there's that true, but the truth of it is, as I said, there's 110,000 restaurants that's closed in the United States, and a lot more coming in the future. 110,000 restaurants.
You know what I see an uptick in?
What?
And it's happening right now. That is home kitchens. People cooking things and then advertising on Facebook.
See, that's the definition of a ghost kitchen. A ghost kitchen is that you don't see a kitchen. What you see is food being served from a location. Now, like Nora's or a house, and this is exactly right, a house.
Iowa is a good place for that because you can certify your kitchen and
certify your kitchen, and then you just certify the bringing of your food to that location, and you keep it warm.
Which insurance should be higher. If somebody gets sick.
So we are seeing our first cashless society is in Venezuela. First cashless society. They can't afford to print money anyhow.
Yeah.
So
monopoly money.
First country to move 100% digital monetary system is Venezuela.
yeah, well, they don't have any money anyway. So.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But this is all part of the move to a cashless society. This is the reason why you're going to see an uptake on Bitcoin. An uptake on Bitcoin. I found this article. This is what I think is going to happen in 2021 too. Jerusalem is the source of explosion of peace. The one world government that's forming in Israel will continue. And the peace in the Middle East will still come through Israel and through, I think, the Trump family.
There's still more countries going to join, though.
Yes.
If
it was anybody else, Trump would have got a prize long time ago for peace. He would have got it with North Korea, and he would have got it with Israel. But because it's Trump, he didn't get it. Good news of the two phony voting machines, Dominion and Smart Max. The guy who's head of the Smart Max voting machines, which also is a follower and a part of George Soros. Smart Max is actually Dominion gets all the play as phony voting machines. But it's actually Smart Max. It's actually Smart Max. The people behind Smart Max are basically feeding Dominion.
They're making
So,
the software for the
yeah. So, anyhow, the guy because we had such a tremendous election this year, by the way, the guy who heads up Smart Max got promoted in the Soros organization.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
You don't have to know where the right buttons
Yeah.
to push.
Sell your soul to the devil. You keep your
He got a promotion.
Isn't that special?
We knew it was going to be.
And of course, I got some things about the phoniness of the vaccine. Did you ever notice that when Fauci got his shot in the left arm, that he pointed to his right arm, to where he got the shot at?
Did you see when they were doing it, that the plunger was
Right.
lifted up?
Well, that was with what's her name too.
Yeah, same thing with the orange cap on.
Well, so it was a fake shot or what?
There you go.
Well, and the other thing of it is by the time it got into beers, it was supposedly be ineffective. The Pope doesn't care if vaccines come from aborted babies. Take that vaccine. Take that vaccine. It doesn't matter if it's from aborted babies.
He already said that he was pro-abortion.
Right. But, still take the vaccine.
Yeah, well, that Pope is a phony anyway.
Congress opened it up the COVID number. Remember, these are a few weeks late, so
Yeah.
This one's just like a week late, though. Congress opened up the COVID relief bill, which endorses reincarnation and idol worship, and of course, Well, what this is in the coronavirus bill. It's money to make sure that we prop up the Dalai Lama.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that was
You got to remember, only 10% goes to the people, basically. The other 90% goes across the seas.
So we're truly achieving nirvana and total nothingness here.
Yes.
And
So
Brian, this
whatever it
was-
is, the Dalai Lama is going to stay well funded. And then of course,
eventually will be taken by China.
Now, that makes me a zero.
and then we opened up the Supreme Court. We opened up the House. We opened up the House with a prayer in which it was closed by amen and a woman.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. That 117th Congress was opened up with a prayer for amen and a woman.
There is a moron.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
They're a moron.
Yeah.
And you are a moron.
And of course, there's Virginia and California governors. You know, you don't need be in churches. Christians don't need churches. States all around the country are fining $10,000. I got to tell you something. That $10,000 is just a really well-used number.
Do you remember?
New Mexico.
Do you remember, like 2 years ago, I said that this movement to say, you know, the church building isn't important.
Yeah.
It was going to come back and bite us.
Right.
I knew this was going to happen.
And then we'll find out that the church building isn't important.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Because when we're having house churches, they'll realize that the main church building isn't all that important. Probably be seized anyhow, or vandalized or destroyed. New Mexico mega churches fined $10,000. Everybody gets fined $10,000, even in Canada.
For what you mean? For opening?
For opening up a church service. The ones in Canada, a bunch of churches they have a 10 limit capacity. Canada. California has 0.
Well, you know, California, land of the fruits and the nuts.
10. You can have 10 people in church. And then this is, if you noticed in the election in the Democrats, they always talk about, we're following the law. We're following the law. Well, the truth of it is which law are we following? That's the question. Are we following the Constitution? No.
No.
Are we following state law? No. What law are we following? The law that the judges tell us.
Now, they go on precedent. A judge makes a ruling, and then it becomes a precedent. It's not a law, it's a precedent.
Now, yes. So now, if the judges says it's a law, and you don't agree with them, then what you do is you go back to your county law. The county law. So here we are. I mean, it's not that big.
Here in Clinton County?
LA County health officials don't attend indoor service no matter what the judge says. You see, it's always got to be some law. If it's not the county law, then it becomes the city law. It's always got to be some law, but it's not the Constitution, state or federal. It's always some other law. And that's the problem with the elections. And to be quite honest with you, I blame the Republicans, and I get it. The truth of it is, there's a lot of Republicans on the take to the New World Order, whether we're talking about China or the United States of Europe. There's plenty of Republicans on the take. We clearly see this. But the truth of it is this election was lost in 2016. The things that happened in 2016 should never have been allowed. And once they started talking about mail-in ballots, which was a violation of virtually all state laws, they violated one way or another. The way that mail-in ballots, the time of voting, many different laws broken. In all the key states, and the Democrats could always say, well, it's not like a nationwide conspiracy. It doesn't need to be a nationwide conspiracy.
It just has to be in certain places.
It just has to be in certain counties. Democrats have learned that if they control certain counties, big cities, they can actually control states. And then you throw in phony voting machines. And to be quite honest with you, I doubt if you'll see a Republican as president.
We got the states, Senate.
Well, the thing of it is this last election, to show us how phony it was, is states, legislatures have turned Republican, more Republican than even previous in 2016. And this is an important year because of rezoning. And I'll guarantee you
Oh, yeah.
that every Democratic state or look-like state down like Georgia. Now, I went down to Georgia and North Carolina, particularly North Carolina, and tremendous wealth down there. I've talked about it with some of you. Tremendous wealth down there. Tremendous wealth. Make us look like we're in ghetto. And I heard that Georgia is the new California. Now, let's just say that the vote was on the up and up, which it wasn't. But let's just say it was. I'll guarantee you, both of those senators both those Democratic senators did not get elected because of black vote. They always vote. Always. What the difference is people south of the border. And when they open up, when they open up the border, this is a new blockbusting. Have you ever heard that term, blockbusting? Brian knows what it is.
Blockbuster.
It's a real estate. Yeah, they went bankrupt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
But it's a real estate term in which, back, to give you an example, in the 40s, late 40s, after the war, realtors bust up all these black people, and they would find a house, and they would put 20 black people in a house that would be for like 6 with a front porch. So in the summertime, we have all these people jammed in this house. They're now on the front porch. So then the realtors, this actually happened in Rock Island. This is how Rock Island got their black people. Is blockbusting. The realtors would then go to houses in the neighborhood of black people they brought in, and they'd say, all the neighbors, you better sell your house before the value drops. And so everybody would want to sell their houses. And then they'd bring in more black people.
Yeah, and they've seen them through affluent neighborhoods. So that
All those people in one house?
So they change the demographics. Exactly. The same thing is going to happen in this country. It's blockbusting. They're going to there's 20 million people wanting to get in the United States right now. 20 million. They're going to take those people and they're going to put them in, like in Georgia, to assure that they stay Democrat. And then they're going to send them into North Carolina, which votes Republican pretty regularly, and they're going to change that state. And then eventually they're going to bring them here in Iowa. I predict that there'll probably be a bunch of new businesses that'll start up that will cater to illegal aliens.
Wonderful.
And this will be all the process to try to flip these states from Republican to Democrat. You throw in the voting machines.
The other line is right now in Clinton, there are businesses in residential areas that are being bought up by Chinese.
Now, why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
Now, okay. Before you can't maybe call me conspiratorial, but you know all conspiracies usually turn true. I have 2 reasons why the Chinese are buying up places in Clinton here. Okay, first of all, how many thinks that you could have a university or a college with about 25 people? You can't have one for 100. You couldn't have one for 200-300 people. Okay? So why do we have this Chinese college that has just a few people in it?
You have people coming in you have foreigners coming in from college.
Well, okay, just something to think about. Another thing is I heard that they're thinking about buying a business or starting a business in downtown Clinton, somewhere in the downtown along the river area. I don't know if that's true or not.
Avenue South.
Sonic Temple. What is it?
It's right by where the that museum is? You know that garage thing that's alongside? That's where it is. They bought half of it.
Well, what is?
The new Chinese business.
Yeah.
Now what I think, and they're also building housing units. You're going to see Chinese in these housing units.
Yeah. They bought Cambridge.
Cambridge, yes.
Oh, do they buy Cambridge?
Yeah, up in my neighborhood.
So why is this?
Yeah, it's not
Gary,
to be
you
Mr.
dismissed all the
Rogers' neighborhood
conspiracies.
anymore.
I got one left.
Fabulous.
I got one left.
Wow.
So why are the Chinese coming to Clinton? Well, the answer could be that it's got cheap land, cheap properties, cheap labor. I'll give you that. Here's another reason. What city other than Davenport, what city has two bridges and a railroad bridge over the river?
Clinton, Iowa.
And it sits right on the river.
It also happens to be part of Clinton is part of the Trans-American Highway that goes from Mexico to Canada. Clinton is a key point.
That's why we had the sick hospital here during the war.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Yes. So here's the point. What is those Chinese troops doing over at all the Canadian bases?
What do you say?
What are the Chinese troops doing in the bases in Canada?
Canadian base. I thought you said
They're
Canadian
making
base.
sure that Canadians are safe.
Yes, that's exactly it. See, I think. Have you ever seen the movie? It's actually the movie on Operation Market Garden. Market Garden. It's called A Bridge Too Far. The movie. The idea of it is if you're attacking an enemy, you want to seize as many bridges as possible. Don't try to overextend yourself, but try to seize as many bridges as possible, which turned out to be the failing of the Allies because they seized too many bridges and they couldn't, the last bridge, they could not reach and it fell to the Germans. Why? I would propose, if somebody wanted to check this out, if you take a look at where the Chinese are investing at, you will find it in strategic locations that would have to do in case there was ever a conflict in this nation. And that's the reason why I think, like I said, go back to the school thing. Why do we have a Chinese?
Three-quarters of Los Angeles and half a dozen.
Well, I got to tell you something. If you're in Hawaii, I'd learn how to speak Chinese. If you're in Alaska, I'd learn how to speak Russian. If you're on the West Coast, I would learn how to speak Chinese. Because I'm going back to this map. That a Russian political scientist made, I think about 2015, how he divided the United States. And it was divided between Russia, China, and the United States of Europe. And what happens is the Chinese get the West Coast. The Mexicans would like to get into this deal, but the Mexicans are not going to get in this deal. But the talk is that Canada would be a part of the United States. We would be part of Canada and the United States would be part. Basically, the dividing line would be like around the Mississippi River, or maybe the next set of states past that. But there would be would go to the United States of Europe, the one world government. Well, right now what we're seeing is a fight between China taking control of the United States and the United States of Europe. This is not between Republicans and Democrats. We already got the T-shirt on that one. This is between who divides the United States. This is about, don't ever think that it's anything else.
I think it won't be 50-50.
And
I got it wrong.
okay,
They Live. Another good movie.
what?
They Live. You ever seen that one with Roddy Piper?
They Live, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Great movie.
It's kind of comical, but it's kind of true too.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay, we'll see you later.
See you, buddy.
See you guys.
But
Well, the other thing is one of the biggest reasons why the Chinese are interested in, particularly Clinton, is they're right in the middle of agricultural world. They have half of our farms.
okay, stop and think about this. Who was the big friend of Chinese leader? Who is his big friend?
You mean Hunter?
No. his big friend was the governor of Iowa.
Oh yeah.
Branch.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, who went over there and was given like a near impossible proposition to basically tell the Chinese, you have to take less money. And that's the reason why Trump won some parts, but he didn't win that war.
They won that one yesterday.
No. Well, that was headed up by Antifa and anarchists anyhow. But anyhow, this is, you're absolutely right. Why did the future premier of China basically love Iowa? Because a long time ago they thought,
Hungry.
well, yes, hungry, but also he thought, hey, why should we pay this amount of money for food when we can grow it ourselves on our own farms?
He also owned that restaurant, the fish fry is too. He owned that restaurant too. Chinese.
Not that I know of. We just had a meeting. Yeah, I know. We still got a few minutes.
Are we out of salt?
What?
Are we out of salt? Why is it not that?
Well, we should be solid.
That concludes this edition of The Last 7 Days. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Spreaker or GJRB. Join us next time here on Spreaker for another podcast of The Last 7 Days on GJRB. This has been a GJRB podcast presentation. Watch. Pray. For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism. Economic collapse. Wars. Pandemics. Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions. Earthquakes. Signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. Watch. Pray. For we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism. Economic collapse. Wars. Pest. Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Earthquakes. Volcanic eruptions. End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. Strange things in the sky and around the world. Strange beings sighted. What's going on? All around us, conspiracy theories are being discussed. This is the show all about the strange things that are way out there. I'm Gary Russ, and this Way Out There's back with more weird stories of the strange and the bizarre. Keep looking up in the sky and let me know what you see. Way out there. Ed Delgado has his opinions, and he will make them known.
I'm sorry, I got no room in my heart, no mercy in my heart for a child molester, pedophile. To me, when I think about monsters like that, there is only one sentence to me that is acceptable, and that literally is the death penalty.
Politics, entertainment, wide variety of topics.
I like to point out the racial hypocrisy that goes on from the racist left as they try to project that onto the conservatives and the right.
Listen to great talk radio at its best since Rush Limbaugh, the Caramel Conservative. Ed Delgado, Tuesday nights live on Spreaker at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, here on Spreaker, and rebroadcast Saturdays, just ahead of the Gary Russell program Saturday Extra, on the GJRB online network. Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between, like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland. The blues, the primary start to rock and roll music, the music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more. The doors open in May to the Blues House on GJRB. You never know when GJRB is going to be on the air. More programming, more often, on the internet, on GJRB.
This is GJR Broadcasting.